everyone. Welcome back to Lash Boss Radio. I'm Shelby, your host, and today I am joined by Bryce Sechler. She is the inventor of the unstripped fanning method. She did teach this at Lash Boss Summit. We're here to talk about that method today and also some other exciting things going on in our industry right now. Thank you so much, Bryce, for joining me.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Me too. Let's just start with the unstripped method. Can we talk a little bit about that first and just how you came up with that?
Yeah, so I kind of have the same story similar to some artists where I kind of started at like a chain salon where I was doing 10 clients a day, sometimes 12. My first day on the floor, I had to do like 4 people, and I was like, what? Like, I'm not used to this. So they taught me pinching, and the fact that they wanted me to do new sets in 30 minutes, I was like, this isn't working and this isn't making sense. Also, I kind of thought pinching was a little gross because you're touching the lashes. So I have opinions on that. But it just kind of one day worked because you know how the places go, they give you like janky tools and they take the labels off the adhesive and stuff like that. So I just had this random pair of tweezers and I was playing around. I'm like, well, if I wrap it around my finger, then it's going to fan out more for me. And it just worked. And then I actually got written up for doing that. So yeah.
What?
They wrote me up because it was not the way we do things and it was too creative and it was allowing me to put more than 40 lashes per eye because that's how it used to be too.
Golly.
I know. So they were writing me up for making people too full. And I'm like, well, people keep coming in complaining that they're bald, you know? So but after I finally left that place, it wasn't until a couple years ago that I finally realized that like, wait, no one else is doing this because I never thought to put anything out there. I never even went to conferences. I'm at my 10 years of doing lashes, and it was in the last like 3 or 4 years that I knew about that kind of stuff. But it was just the big realization that like, oh, no one else is doing this, and I kind of have something that I can share with the industry that I believe in. But for the most part, it's basically just wrapping the strip around your finger. And then it's done with 3 simple motions that I call the 1, 2, 3 motion. Kind of born out of a shimmy, but altered to be, you know, those 3 specific motions to get a snatch space fan in 3 seconds.
So this is meant for somebody to basically do volume lashes that are handmade just faster.
Yes. Yeah. And then you don't have to do the extra step of pinching it or forming the fan once you dip it in the adhesive, because if done correctly, you get that snatched base and it's ready to be dipped and go.
I have a big question about this. So I'm somebody that likes to vary lengths throughout one section. So how would I do this method if I'm like right next to my 11, want to put like a 10 or a 9 there?
So I, on average, fit about 6 strips on my finger at a time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So what I do is I lay out the strips. I always like to say, like, I don't know if you want this for video, but we can have like the starting point at the inner center of our finger wrapping around, because it's going to allow for a perfect like range of motion here. But essentially, I'm going to put the first strip, the longest length, at the top of my finger, kind of at the base of my nail bed. And then I'm going to line up the lengths in that way too. But it also plays into, you know, it's not just the unstripped method that makes you fast. There's a multitude of different techniques that I use when I'm working to be able to do a full set in like an hour and a half. But what I'm doing essentially is I'm mapping out my set. So, you know, I'm going to get the top layer first. And I like to call that like skeleton creation. I just like to throw words on things, you know, to make it sound fun. But I'm going to get the skeleton creation done first. And then I'm going to switch out my strips halfway through the set, if that makes sense. So say I'm doing a wispy set and I'm dropping 2 or 3 lengths. I'm going to get like the 13 down to 9 or something here, or whatever I'm doing. And then once I finish the entire top layer, then I'm going to swap out and go from, we'll say like 10 to 6, you know, and I'll those all out and then target the bottom layer.
Got it. And so are you typically for one client, like using strips for just those clients, or are you like reusing strips that like are partially used?
So I kind of like set it up where I have, because, you know, for sanitation reasons. So clients I have in my mind, like I already, you know how you don't even have to write stuff down anymore because you memorized. So I have trays for each client essentially that I put strips in for them. And then I kind of label those and stuff to keep it all clean.
That's so much more sanitary than how we all are using trays for our sets and stuff. So interesting. Okay. This answered a lot of questions that I had about this method. I think it's really cool. I think we do ideally want to lash as fast as we can, not just because to make more money, but also because the client benefits too from not having to lay down for so long.
I've had countless clients come to me and they come back specifically because of the convenience factor. Like they'll be like, oh wow, we're already done. Like my last person took 2.5 hours and I had to stop going because of that, you know? So, it makes it convenient. And then I explain to them, like I make it clear, like, yes, we're doing a faster service, but here's why I'm not cutting corners and here's how you're still getting the same quality. And I think it just comes from communication, you know?
Yeah, knowing that you're doing like a certain technique, you're not like sticking all their lashes together because you're going so freaking fast. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, and it's going to happen for all of us, even experienced artists. We're still going to get the sticky every now and then. It's impossible not to,
Yeah.
right?
But that's why we check at the end.
Exactly. Yeah. And then there's just other things that you can do, like working in layers. Like I'm really big on like utilizing my depth perception, you know, so I'm going to move around my client when I'm lashing to ensure that like I'm not sticking those things together. I do another thing called like multi-isolation. I put terms on all these things. They probably aren't my terms, you know, but that's where it's like if I'm doing classic lashes, for instance, I can pop on 5 lashes. I'm not sticking them together because I have them all in those different layers.
I do this too. Yes.
Yeah. So, and because it goes so much faster and you're not sticking things together.
Yeah, exactly. I do this too. I consider myself to be fairly fast doing lashes, whether I'm doing classic or volume, but I'm also thinking about how I can make that set like the most efficient. And that is one way to like speed it up so fast because you can tell like that lash is not going to touch each other, especially if I keep that isolation open just a little bit to allow all of those to cure. But a lot of times it's because they're on different layers and you can see that they're physically not going to touch.
Exactly. Yeah. And especially classic sets, that makes it so like I whip up so fast.
Oh yeah.
But then it's also like spoolie lift is what I call it. Like instead of taping back, you take the spoolie and you lift and target that bottom layer. And I always like to reiterate, like speed comes in time. If you're brand new, like you're not going to be fast and that's okay. Right.
Yes.
Like, so it's experience too.
Totally. When you're first learning and you're trying to get your speed down, it's if you stop trying to get your speed down, that's when it actually starts to come down. Because if you focus on the actual skill and technique and just safe application, the speed is just going to naturally start coming down. I remember the first time I ever told myself, because I used to just lash like friends and family when I first started like 13 years ago. Yeah, I remember the first time I invited somebody over to, I said, I'm just going to see how long it takes me to get every single lash. Like, I'm not going to try and speed up or anything. I'm just going to see where I am. It took me like 5.5 hours, but I got her to 100% for the first time ever a client. And then from that point, I knew my starting point was that. And then I just, without changing my technique too much, I just started to whittle that time down little by little. But I think so many people, they're trying to go for coverage and for speed, and then they end up creating more bad habits or just like an overall result that they're not wanting, which is all the lashes stuck together and just the work not being as good.
That, and I would almost say too, like hyper focusing is like I go into this weird like headspace when I lash, and I kind of, we can go into that later with the whole, with me putting on a giveaway and all these things that I'm doing, but like lashes were originally like a healing element for me. It was something that I needed to kind of like forget everything else that was happening in my life at the time. So I've still kind of tapped into that headspace where I just kind of zone out and go into it, but I don't sit there and like hyperly intense on a section. So for instance, I never recommend going from corner to corner, if you know what I mean, or like doing like the outer and inner corners and then working your way towards the middle, because that's just going to slow you down. I'm always like a hop around and kind of find
I
what you.
I think it's the opposite. Like, I lash fastest when I don't skip. Yeah, because I think when I'm moving an already lash section over and I'm just grabbing the very next one that I see, I feel like it cuts down on the fishing through the lash line to find a lash. But I think, yeah, we all have our different methods that we're fastest at, you know?
Exactly. And you're going to find what works for you. That's the
Hmm.
thing. One size fits all. But I mean, even with the hyper focusing on like, if the lash ain't lashing, like move on because you can come back to it. Right. Like that's kind of my rule of thumb. Like if the fan didn't fan, I'm going to toss it and I'm going to start over.
Another tip too is that when you come across a lash, like, I call it like, don't get too emotionally invested in a certain lash that you want to get. Like, if it's a baby lash that pops out, go ahead and put a short extension on it. It'll get it out of the way faster, and you'll spend less time like finding that specific one and just getting the very first one that like pops out. But yeah, there's so many things that you could do to like speed yourself up in that way that doesn't take too much more effort or like skill or anything.
Yeah. And it doesn't take from the quality. And I think that's like a big argument with the speed lashing thing is that like we're gluing lashes together or like making, bad quality lashes. But it's like it's not that we're just cutting corners. We're utilizing all of these techniques at the same time to get the service done faster.
So do you see this in 2025 becoming like people's focus is to try and cut down their time standards? Because for a while we actually saw people wanting to increase their time. I think for good reason. They wanted to like add more to like the artistry and the consultation and all of that. But
Mhm.
what is your take on it?
I think it's coming up, which makes my heart so happy because it's like I'm so glad people are finally talking about it. I mean, especially with like going to LashCon this past year, it was a hot topic at LashCon. If you noticed, like
Yeah.
there was a lashing topics, and I'm glad to see it because I think when we look at the client perspective, because we are all artists, we're all doing our thing, and we take pride in what we do, but we still have to service for our clients. They're the whole reason we're doing all of this, and some clients truly just don't want to sit there that long or
Yeah.
can't. So we're servicing everyday women. I love like of course if I'm going to do a model set that I'm going to post on Instagram, it's probably going to take me 2.5 or so hours because I'm really honing in on the artistry, but like the everyday woman doesn't need or even want that half
Hmm.
the time.
Also, to the rise of digital consultations has like you see
Yeah,
Trina like Maven Artistry's method of how she does her consultations, but a lot of that can be done before the client ever steps in the building, which is really cool too. And I think goes hand in hand with like the cutting the time down for the benefit of the client.
exactly. And I've been doing that with our clients and my new artists that I've just hired is like we can like send us a mugshot style photo. And especially in the training period I actually just hired someone. So it's like we're going through that mugshot style photo of exactly what to do.
Mhm.
Um, and then of course when the client actually comes in, if she wants to change things, we're going to go with what she wants. But um, yeah, it's just all those little things add up to save all that time.
Absolutely. So going back, you mentioned, I do want to talk about this giveaway that you have going on that you just announced this morning at the time of recording this. Can you talk to us a little bit about the like why you are doing this giveaway and just all the details about it?
Yeah. So to not get too deep, I guess, but the meaning behind Unstripped, I realized also that a few years ago is I am myself a survivor of sexual assault. So I really believe in supporting other women. I mean, I wouldn't have my business today if that didn't happen to me, which I hate to give that credit where it's not due, but having that happen allowed me to really come up with a determination of like, no, I need something for me that no one can take away. Like so much was taken away, but this can't be taken away. This is mine. So I really want to feed into that with other women and other lash artists. Last year, I think it was last year, I did a giveaway for like more locally for permanent makeup training. But I wanted to expand it this year to specifically lash artists. So I've partnered with primarily Beauty for a Cause and International Lash Expo, as well as like 13 or so other brands. Light Heart's included in there. She's donating some products as well too. But we're doing about a $6,000 giveaway for 2 winners. It's a simple essay contest. We just want to hear your voice. We want to hear your story, and we want to hear how you want to help empower your clients and other women around you. And then hopefully help a lash artist kind of give her that reminder, or give them the reminder that they need, that they're still in this, they still got this, they can keep going, and all those things. But the prizes are including a ticket. The grand prize has a ticket to International Lash Expo, which is exciting. And then we've got education thrown in there, products, gift cards, self-care items. I'm doing like a class and like a mentorship in there too. So, but yeah, hopefully it can just give that encouragement to the 2 people that, that we'll choose that really need it.
That's incredible. Thank you guys all for doing something like that for our industry. It's really beautiful.
And it's like, it's not in the industry, right? Like, you don't see us talking about it,
yeah.
but we're an industry full of women.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact, I'm not alone in that, so.
Was this your idea for this giveaway?
Yes. Yeah. So I reached out to Mo with Beauty for a Cause. Kind of simultaneously, I was reaching out to Mo and Crystal with International Lash Expo. And the idea just kind of came about because I wanted to do another one from last year. I wanted to make it bigger. And I was thinking in terms of like, well, if we can have some kind of conference ticket donated, that'd be great. And honestly, like, it was just supposed to be the conference ticket from the original get-go. So I'm really glad that it's blossomed into all these other brands wanting to participate, to just make it bigger. But yeah, this is something that I want to do, like, ideally annually. Like, I want to do some kind of annual thing to support survivors. I also do 10% of all my tweezer sales go to a local women's shelter here in California. So I'm always just trying to create the business that I've created. I'm doing this now to use my resources to help other women who need it.
To give back. Yeah, that's amazing. You said to enter this giveaway, which sounds like you guys are all coming together to give back so much. You have to write an essay. When is that essay due?
But yeah, so the applications are open from now until January 15th. It's very simple. There's a few essay questions about under, I'd say, like 300 words or less. We really just want to see your passion and who you are. And then we're going to do the judging until February 1st. So we've got about, I want to say, like 8 or 9 judges. I will be kind of the last to see because we're keeping it 100% anonymous so that you are in a safe place. You don't have to be fearful unless you want to put your name out there. And then we'll announce the winners on February 1st, and we'll be delivering the prizes within the first week of February.
So where do they go if they do want to enter?
So the application, you can either find it in my bio on Instagram, or it's going to be un-stripped.lbb.com-pages-empowered, and then like a little hyphen giveaway.
Okay, I will link that in the show notes, both your Instagram page and the website.
Yes, and you'll find all the details on my Instagram. We'll be posting like more stuff as we kind of go along.
So I also wanted to bring you on to talk about 2025 trends and things that you think will be kind of at the forefront this coming year.
Yeah, so I'm seeing like a huge trend in natural. I'm so glad that that's kind of popping out because our industry kind of has like fluctuated. Like, we were doing like the mega rush in volume and like those like quote unquote caterpillar lashes that people, like clients, like to call it that. So I'm really happy to see that it's been getting more on the natural route. Even like my clients in my salon, like lash lifts has been popping off lately. Like, everyone wants a lash lift. Or the people who are getting extensions, like they're showing me pictures of like hyper real lashes. I know that was coined by White Flamingo. So that's definitely on trend. And then I would say like the brown and colored lashes too are really popping off right now, which is really fun to play with, you know, as this. So
I just interviewed right before this Carrie McGrath of Luca Lash, and she's been teaching this method where it's like using subtle color to enhance the client's eyes and everything, which is super cool. I also agree with you though about just like realistic looking sets, because at my salon, we've been doing this from the beginning. And I feel like when everyone else has been talking about like their clientele going up and down and the industry ebbing and flowing, we weren't really noticing that as much. And I think it's because we were always offering these timeless sets that always just enhance like the natural beauty versus following all of the different trends. But
And we're in the same boat. I mean, like my salon is next to a courthouse, so we get a lot of like, lawyers and court workers and stuff, and they don't want those big lashes. I have two clients, legit, like only two clients who get mega volume, and that's it.
yeah,
So,
it's
um,
same. Actually, it's same. Like we have hundreds of clients that see us every month, and I think we literally have like 2 mega volume clients too, maybe 3.
yeah,
Which, yeah, I think as a lash artist, like having the skills to do many different types of looks is great. But I think never forgetting to post those pictures of the realistic sets too, because we all got so into posting these these sets to show off our artistry and what we're capable of doing, which is amazing. But then we're forgetting like what clients are actually wanting to see a lot of the time too.
exactly. Yeah. And I've noticed that like every client that comes in, new clients, they're always like, I don't want like the caterpillar lashes. Like I want them really natural. And there's even been times where we do like what we think is natural and it's not natural enough. And
Yeah.
we're just doing like 0.15 classics or like a light angel set, and they're still like, oh no, this is too much.
Yeah, I think we've noticed that too. Like we thought we were doing our best to do the most natural, but there's even more natural. Like White Flamingo, she is doing like the most natural sets ever, which is so cool. Like hyper realistic, which is really looking like those are really someone's own lashes. We do a lot of angel sets in our salon, and then we've even started using even thinner diameters than we always use, like mostly 0.15, and we hardly actually use single fibers anymore, but when we do, we often use like even thinner than that. And we're doing a ton of angel sets instead of like traditional classic sets too now.
Yeah. I would say like our classics are still really popular. Like people still like that 1-to-1. And that's just kind of like I have like a soft spot for classics because it's like I know it's kind of dying, but I still love them. But definitely the angels have been popping off. Hybrids are still somewhat popular, but
Yeah.
not as much as angels now. And then we've been playing around again with 0.07s lately and kind of like focusing in on that hyper real where you just grab maybe 2 fibers. And then kind of like we've just been playing with the diameters a lot. But when it comes to volumes, I do love a 0.03, or mixing like 0.05 spikes with 0.03 fans.
Yeah. I think too, something that really makes a set look more realistic is varying the lengths, like I mentioned earlier, like varying in each section, varying the lengths. Like you're not just having, even though that section calls for an 11, like you're using 7s, 8s, 9s, and 10s in that section too, because real lashes look that way. They're not all just like this one-dimensional thing. And that really helps the set look the best, I think, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. And we've been doing that too. I even and who wanted a full set of 5s.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because she was like, I want short, so I put 7s on her, and she didn't. At first I was like, well, let me kind of have some shape here, and I did more of like a doll eye, so I did like 5, 6, 7, just to keep it really soft. And these are way too long.
Oh my gosh.
So once we did a full set of 5s, she was super happy. So I'm like, okay.
I think too, we might even start seeing like more curls getting used that don't have like a super obvious curvature, or even like our M curls. We all love our M's right now, but there is something about M's that still from the side can look like they're not real. And I think we might start seeing something that is more in that natural shape of an eyelash come out more. But also, I'm loving lash lifts too. We just took a training as a salon with Ellie Bana, and it was amazing. We also love Ruthie Bell in our salon too, but I think, carrying multiple brands is great as well. But yeah, lash lifts are really taking off.
Yeah, it's insane. And then I know Elabana just came out with their hybrid shields.
I don't know if
I don't know if you got the chance to try them yet.
Yeah.
So I haven't had the chance. I have them like they just got delivered, and I'm so excited because they're to mimic more of that M curl.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've been playing around with different shield sizes and stuff lately too. But those ones, I can't wait to see the results.
Yes, I think also a lot of brands are focusing on like doing lash lifts in a healthy way. Like, Elibana has like their Regen and their Profusion line, in addition to the one shot line that they have. And then Ruthie is always big on this and has like her shine repair as a last step. And just making sure clients, when they're coming back, it's not looking all dry and wonky and all of that, which is really cool because I think that is why a lot of people shied away from doing lash lifts, is because of the grow out and the clients complaining of that too.
Yeah. But that also segues into like there's been a really big upkick in at-home lash lifts.
Yeah.
Which we have had quite a few people coming in who have kind of deep fried their
Yes.
so
Yep.
I think as an industry as a whole, like we need to start kind of stepping up on that front and really educating to our followings, that our clients, that like do not do this at home.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, I totally agree. And finding ways to get clients in and out for lash lifts too. We've been doing the flex and set checks, and that has completely changed the way that our lash lifts end up looking. We get a perfect lift literally every single time when we do the checks, and it really takes no more time, but we're just giving clients like a very accurate processing time versus just being like an estimation type of thing.
Well, and then like taking off the inner corners first, because that's always going to process faster. So yeah, we started doing that too, and it's made a huge difference in just overall satisfaction. And then of course, like keeping your product in a cool place as well, like so that it doesn't go bad. But yeah, it's definitely been. We're doing like, I would say, out of all of our appointments, maybe like 35% is lash lifts now.
Wow.
So it's
yeah, and it used to be probably around 10%, right?
Yeah.
Same.
It's popular.
Mhm.
I have just so the brow lamination is kind of getting a little downward spiral too.
Agreed. We don't do brows. We only do lashes at our salon, but yeah.
Yeah, no, the brow, I think because it was like almost like too fluffed for people.
Right.
And then brow tints have become very popular too, because
Mhm.
I use like a softer line where it doesn't really tint the skin. It's just tinting the hair. Because I was using a line that did that, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, this is too much." So it just goes to show, like, it depends on your market and who your clients are. Because our clients, like, they only want just subtle enhancements.
I think, what this is all coming from? I think we've all been kind of humbled by our clients in general in relation to our industry, because for so long we all thought like we were just hot stuff, and we saw clients say, "Hey, we don't want this anymore." And so we all had to kind of think of like, "Oh yeah, they are in control. They are our boss," kind of, And so yeah, this is, I think, why we're starting to see all of these different things arise and get more popular. The timing, the, faster sets, the faster consultations, the more realistic looking stuff, the more customized stuff and personalization. I think we're seeing that too because of that.
Yeah. Well, and it's like upping the value, because I hate to say it, but it's like the more lash artists we have, the more the competition rises, and people are going to shop around for the value. Like, I'm one of the most expensive in my area, and I have one of my clients come in all the time. I feel bad that she says this, but she's like, I saw my friend's lashes and they look terrible. Like, and she's like, they pay $60 for their fill and they go back every week and a half, and they're shocked that mine lasts 3, almost 4. And they judge me for spending 140 with you, but look at what I'm getting. And it's like, exactly, right? Like, so they're going to pay for the value, they're going to pay for the relationship, they're going to pay for the retention and all of those kinds of things. But if you can't offer all of those things, they're not going to see that value.
Right. Yeah, totally. And I think on our websites and on our social media, like, we have to be talking about those things and benefits and all of that, versus more the show-offy to other lash artists type of vibe that I think we saw for so many years, which I think is great too, but the clients kind of are running the show right now.
Well, and that ties even into like social media and how you market. Like my salon has its own Instagram, like its own Facebook kind of thing. And I keep my academy stuff completely separate.
Same.
Because I wasn't for a while there and clients were getting so confused. It was just causing like an uproar. But even like in my ads that I do with like Facebook Meta or Google, like the verbiage that I use is targeted specifically to that client that values convenience, values luxury, all those kinds of things. And it's just how you word things too
Yep.
is important.
Yeah, they also want to see your space, your team.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like it's a completely different messaging and type of photos that in videos that you're posting for like a salon page than one that you are posting for artists. We same thing. We have like I have 6 Instagrams
Oh, yeah.
because like the salon, the school, everything. But yeah,
Mhm.
every single one is like a different goal and a different everything. How often or how much time do you spend, by the way, on social media or working
Mhm.
on social media?
So I spend more time on my academy page because I'm trying to grow, the method and get that out there. When it comes to the salon, I really hate to say this, but I post maybe like once a month. But I didn't build that side of the business through social media. It never came from media. I mean, we maybe get like a couple referrals from Instagram a month, but I more so focus in on like I've built like 4 websites. So I'm really honing in on like website building and SEO management. So SEO has been a top contender, Google My Business, ad generation. Nextdoor is huge too for getting clients. Um, and then I hijack Facebook groups and I get kicked out of them a lot, but then I get back in.
Oh my gosh. Wait, go back to Nextdoor. How
Yeah.
are you using that for your business?
So there's a couple ways you can use Nextdoor. They have ads. The ads are a little bit more expensive. You're looking more around the lines of like 130 a month to run a continuous ad that's going to pop up. I frequently post specials on there too, and then I have clients recommend us on Nextdoor. So it's like if you happen to, can you post us on there? Can you, if you happen to see someone asking, can you tag us? Kind of thing like that.
Okay, that's really cool. I think I have a Nextdoor account. I just never get on it. But
Yeah,
now I'm going to
I
do that.
started to, and it is paying off. So, I think like what I kind of fell into was I was focusing so much on getting my name out there in the lash industry for a while that I kind of ended up neglecting the salon because we're only one person. That's going to happen. But I was noticing that I was focusing too much on digitizing the salon and it was actually hurting us because in the beginning, I spent more time locally advertising and I would go hang up flyers and do like partnering with the local businesses or getting into those spaces like Nextdoor and local Facebook groups. So now that I've been doing that, we've been able to get a lot more clients coming back into.
That's really important to think about because we do the same. We focus so much on our social media page and ads and everything, but clients are right there next door. So just, yeah, thinking about that too while you're doing all of the other things is probably best.
Yeah, and it helps to have help, I will say.
Yeah. Yeah, I get help with my social media and I swear it's the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah, one of the I will because I am tired of social media.
Other than that, what else is on the horizon for you and Unstripped this coming year?
Yeah, so you'll see me at a couple conferences this year, including Lash Boss Summit. I won't be speaking, but I'm going to be attending, and we're going to get some cowboy boots and have some fun.
Yay.
But then you'll see me at a webinar with American Lash Association January 20th. And other than that, I will be completing the line of my tweezers, the Strip Tweez collection. So I've got 2 more that I'm coming out with. It took me about 2 years to come out with the tease tweezers, so bear with me. That was a little bit more picky with that one, but the other 2 will be a lot easier. So, and it's just a reminder that 10% of all tweezer sales go to a local shelter here near me. And that the applications for the giveaway will close on January 15th.
Amazing. And I will put links to the application and also your class on the show notes.
Yes, and I will be doing a $50 off discount code for all your listeners. So
Thank
they
you.
can put in all caps Lash Boss for $50 off the Unstripped Method class.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining me today.
Thank you. I really appreciate